Hi, how are we? I hope you're having a great day. If you haven't been here before, my name is Cass. Now, I haven't uploaded for a few weeks, but I've now got a fun illustration to bring you. It is MerMay currently, which is the art world's version for May. So I've created this little illustration of a mermaid giving two pufferfish a ride on her tail. I was drawing different mermaids in my sketchbook to get an idea and eventually landed on this particular mermaid pose, and I thought she looked a bit boring on her own, so I added in these two little pufferfish. I think they're pretty cute. But originally I thought I'd put a fish in the water. I was thinking maybe they were going to try and bite onto her tail or just be looking up to her tail from the water. But I didn't like how the half a fish in the water and half a fish out of the water was looking. I think it would have been okay maybe on a different angle, but in this particular angle it just wasn't working. So instead I put the fish on her tail and I thought it looked really cute. They're like having a little ride on there. So I got to try out for the second time my new favourite art supply. These are the Rohrer and Klinger ink. I'm really sorry if I stuffed that up. The pronunciation's a little bit hard. Anyway, I hunted for this ink. I knew that this was the ink that the artist Takala uses, and I have been searching for it basically everywhere and couldn't find it. So all of the big retailers, all of the local retailers, just nowhere had this type of ink. They only had acrylic ink, and the acrylic inks that I was finding, they're really sticky. I just wasn't liking them. So anyway, I found this little small independent art supply store all the way on the other side of Australia. It's called Adamstown Art. They have some really unique brands and some really cool stuff. So I will be back to buy some things from them soon. I'd like to get all the rest of these inks in all the rest of the colours, because I probably only got about half the amount of inks that they supply. And I got, most of the primary colours and a couple of extra little bits and pieces. But with how nice they are to use, I would like to get them all, because I think this is going to be what I will be using instead of watercolour for a lot of the illustrations, because it was just, I don't know, it was so nice. You can build on top of the colours and they don't get muddy, they don't reactivate, so you're not getting that bleeding happening. Just really, really nice to work with. So I was, blown away by that. So definitely a new favourite. Now, this is the second illustration that I've done of this ink. I did do a trial illustration, which I haven't done a video of. I did do a couple of Instagram reels, and you can have a look at that on my Instagram, or you can have a look at my TikTok if you want to see that particular illustration. It was just a bit of a trial run, but I did mix in one of my other inks, one of the acrylic inks that I had for the background, and that didn't quite turn out as nice as I'd like. So yeah, and I couldn't be bothered editing that video, so that one just kind of got scrapped. The picture's out there if you want to have a look, but yeah, this, now that I'd had a play with the inks, and I did really quite like this mermaid design, so I took the effort to record this one a little bit better and spend the time editing it. So I hope you like it. I hope somebody likes it. But yeah. I think after this illustration, I'd like to do maybe another piece of just like the puffer fish. Maybe something close up. Maybe a puffer fish poking the other puffer fish with its spikes. I think that might look a bit cute, but I really enjoyed the way that they look, so I think I might incorporate them into something else because it's just a little bit of fun. But yeah, I particularly like how the scales turned out on the mermaid's tail. I wanted to try something a little bit different, and not have just a flat tail, but I also didn't want to do a really structured design, so I kind of think it's a little bit like a mosaic, so we'll just call it like a mosaic tail. I did a similar thing in the water on a bigger scale, but I go back through later on and kind of blend and blur that out a little bit with some darker ink, because I didn't want them to look exactly the same, but with having the darker ink over the top of those kind of mosaic tiles on the water, it created a really cool effect, because where I didn't put the ink you can still see the lightness going through, so it kind of looks like you've got ripples in the water, you know, the sunlight can kind of hit it and it shows movement. So I was really happy how that turned out. I also really love the design of this tail. I was a little bit worried at first that it might just look like, you know, a tablecloth or something chucked on, but I thought it looked really nice. You know, with the classic mermaid tails, they are kind of more sharp looking. I didn't want this to look sharp. I wanted it to feel really soft. And by having the tail look, like my initial idea was for it to look a little bit more like fins, like a fish fins, maybe like a fighting fish. They do have kind of a fabric-y look to them, but I really liked how they turned out. Yeah, not much more I can say, but I really like them. Eventually, I'd like to have my illustrations be a little bit more detailed, maybe have something happening in the background. I'm still trying to figure out my exact illustration style. I do like this illustration style. I like the face of the girl, and I do like its simplicity, but I think for a lot of future stuff, I'd like to have things going on in the background, make them a little bit more interesting. Sometimes I worry that my illustrations are too boring, but I basically just want the character or characters to be the main part, so I'm being quite careful before adding lots of background stuff in. Yeah, let me know what you think of this particular style. And as I said, I like it. I think it's working for me, so I probably will stick with this type of style. Obviously, I'm still going to do all the different types of artworks in between, but for, I think, audience sake, you are best to pick a style of art and stay with it, because otherwise people look at you and it just looks like a mess. So I'm trying to really buckle down and get a particular style that hopefully a certain group of people will like. And I mean, it might not be for everybody, but needs something that it feels like me and it feels right for me, which is what this illustration is doing. It does basically have most of the elements that I want in my illustration work. Anyway, I think that's enough of me talking today. I hope you like this piece. Let me know what you think. Stick around to the end to see it all finished, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.